that were made by the prosecutor.
Okay, let's go ahead and go to Judge Wesley now. Since he was not a witness that I'd requested, I'm going to ask you to limit your time. You can also accept written testimony from you because I do have a number of questions I'd like to hear from all panelists. So let's bring forth Judge Wesley. I don't think I've ever met you before, but I will go ahead and accept your testimony, although I'm going to ask you to be brief.
Thank you, Senator. I was going to thank you for inviting me to speak, but you didn't invite me.
I didn't, but speak.
So I appreciate the opportunity of having to express my opinions and views on these things before the senators and the committee that's here today. First, let me indicate to you, I'm not a supervising judge. I am not a manager. I am a trial court judge at the present time. I was also a union member. I belong to Local 660. I've been in this justice system, like many of the people in back of me, I've been in the system for 35 years. This is what I do for a living. I'm very passionate about what I do. And I listen to the comments made here, and when people say that in my court people are being denied their constitutional rights, or their right to a fair day in trial, I take umbrage. I know many of the interpreters sitting in back of me. Many of them are my friends. They've been in the justice system with me for a long time. And I try not to take things personally. When somebody says that I'm not doing my job, I take it personally.
Let me just add, Judge Wesley, I don't know that I heard anybody say Judge Wesley. So I just want to correct that. I did not hear your name in vote.
I'm a member of this court. When you attack and say that judges on our court, who am I to think I'm a judge on our court?
So you're talking about the court in general, not Judge Wesley's courtroom. Let's be clear about that. You're talking in general.
I can't speak for every judge on this court. I can speak for my court. Now, Senator, I'd like to address this jury issue because you seem very angry about it. And I'd like to...
Women are oftentimes described as being angry, emotional, but
I'm not,
that's a stereotype often attributed to judges. Trained to judges that when a woman speaks strongly, we're not speaking from our hormones. It's less to do with anger than it is with an understanding of an injustice which we perceive.
Well,
but I hope that nobody's interpreting me as being angry.
Let's talk about the injustice that we perceive. The instruction given in the court is that some testimony may be given in another language, usually Spanish.
Presiding judges, we were doing pretty good up to this point. And let me say I've sat through many hearings for the length and breadth of times I've been a public official. And I know when we're on a slippery slope.
Well, we're not, Senator.
Sir, I'm speaking, and that means you have to listen.
No, Senator.
Excuse me. You are not presiding. This is not a courtroom. This is a Senate hearing. When the senator speaks, the witnesses listen.
Now, I think we can continue to remain constructive, or something else is about to happen. What's your pleasure, sir? The chair invited 3 persons to be heard. She afforded a courtesy for someone who was not requested or invited to be heard. We're moving in a direction that is becoming problematic. And let me assert, gender aside, I'm about to get angry.
Sir, we appreciate the opportunity to be here today, and appreciate your opportunity to, as I used to say with my kids, call timeout.
Yes, sir.
All right, so if you would accept that in the good spirit that it was offered, I would hope we could move forward.
Let me just go ahead and ask some questions, because I think we are going to be running out of time, and we have time in public comment to come back to this. Judge Zolliger, we convened the hearing. We started probably a little bit late, what, 9:15, 9:20. About what time did you come into the hearing?
Come into the hearing?
Yes,
I think it was about 11:30.
Okay, about 11:30. I am going to say that I was quite struck by your comments, that the past 6 weeks have been an inconvenience to the courts. It has not brought the operations to a halt. And that, I think, I must say, was a little bit surprising to me, especially having heard testimony from about 9:15 to about 11:30, including from the district attorney's office, including from the public defender's office, including from the city attorney's office, that did, others, that did talk about the impacts that this is having. We may not have seen the operations brought to a halt. We may have disposed of cases. I don't think anybody questions whether or not it was halted. Clearly, it has not been. We haven't questioned whether or not cases have been disposed of. The question has been, again, to what has happened in the operations that have continued. And from 9:15 till about 11:30, witness after witness after witness did speak about the costs that we must calculate. Perhaps we can never put a dollar sign on, that have occurred in the last 6 weeks. I was also quite struck, and Senator Ridley-Thomas, I'm going to go back and talk to the Chief Justice. It sounds like you're saying you don't need the money that the state of California sends to you. I will say, after listening to the testimony this morning on the demographics, probably from the first panel, there's a shortage of interpreters. We are looking at, with retirements, the pipeline. I am absolutely stunned, and part of me, we want to be efficient as well, but I'm calling the Chief Justice to say, in Los Angeles County, the biggest system where we have the vast majority of interpreters, I heard the presiding officer tell the state legislators, hold your money. We can get by. Now, I heard you saying that.
I never said that, Senator.
As a legislator, I am going to not accept that
And I never
as
said
my
it, Senator.
conclusion. I am going to tell the Chief Justice that what I heard more so was there is a need for more interpreters in the system. There is a need for advanced training in the system. We may have gotten by, but we are now going to take a look at what's the impact of having gotten by. But let me go and ask you specific questions. As I had indicated earlier, there have been a number of attorneys, judges, who have spoken off the record. And some of them, quite frankly, indicated they didn't wish to speak publicly. Some of them sent emails to me. Some of them sent documents to me. Some of them submitted written testimony. I asked that they speak publicly. I get it. I certainly know that the judicial system is a political world. And just like the speaker or the pro tem can send a member to the broom closet, take away committee staff, etc., I clearly understand, let's not be naive, that in a judicial system as well, too, somebody can be sent to, somebody said the Siberia of court, they said Lancaster. I personally don't think there's anything wrong with Lancaster, and I don't think Senator Runner would appreciate that, but I heard people didn't want to go to Lancaster.
Senator, anyone that would believe that would be naive.
A memo that was sent to me early on, this was dated September 24th, almost a month ago, specifically states that John Clark was away on vacation out of the country. Why didn't you have him come back? How do we, and I would say in a state of disarray in the courts, tell people, stay on vacation? That, to me, I think more than probably anything, needs to be understood. Because we're into 6 weeks. And you may testify that there's business as usual. 1, 2, 3 voices, you're probably the only 3 voices I've heard that have said it's business as usual. Can you justify why you didn't tell Mr. Clark, come back? Let's get this settled.
Yes. 1, there is no disarray in the court.
And on September 24th, there was no disarray, and on October 15th, there's no disarray. But maybe we just disagree. You're saying there's no disarray. With all due respect, I do believe that that is an isolated opinion.